Hello, my name is Zachary Walden, and today I am excited to show you what I have been working on these past 10 weeks, and that is my project with CASIO, reimagining their smartwatch. We'll go over a little bit about my story, my research that led me to my problem, going throughout my process, and ending on my grand reveal. I grew up wearing many different kinds of watches, from Timex to my favorite childhood Casio World Time. This watch was special to me because of the module's unique ability. It allows you to cycle throughout the world map, selecting different countries to display different time zones. And to childhood me, this made me feel connected to the world as a whole right from my wrist. It wasn't until this past summer where my brother got married and I received this Casio Duro Diver watch as a gift. This reignited my interest in Casio as a brand and my passion for watches as a whole. That same summer, we had the Paris 2024 Olympics, and one athlete in particular caught my attention, and that was Emile Caires, who placed fourth in the Olympic marathon running for the UK. He ran sporting this orange Casio F91W. And this kind of surprised me, as this is a cheap $20 watch you could probably find at your local Walmart. So, this led me to asking myself some questions, such as, why did he wear a cheap watch? Why not a smartwatch? And better yet, why not a Casio smartwatch? These questions would launch me into my journey. But before we go into that, let's talk a little bit about Casio. Casio is a watch staple where people from all walks of life, including celebrities, wear these watches. Casio history started in 1946, where it was founded in Mitaka, Tokyo, later to be renamed as the Casio Computer Company in 1957. A few years later, in 1972, they released their first groundbreaking item, the Casio Mini, the world's first personal calculator. Just 2 years later from that, they released the Casiotron, the world's first electronic watch with an automatic calendar. And in 1983, they released the G-Shock DW5000C. This watch would forever cement Casio as a world leader in digital watches. These are some of my favorite watch models due to some of their innovative features. The Casio GG9 golf game allows you to play the game of golf right from your wrist. In 1995, they released the Casio TSR 100 thermal scanner, which allowed you to detect your internal temperatures for whatever reason you wanted to. The Casio VBD 200 Memory Protect was a databank watch that had the cool ability of having a touchscreen, something relatively unheard of in the 1990s. And in the year 2000, they released the Casio WQV1 wrist camera. And this is probably my favorite model because of its ability to capture a moment of time right from your wrist. Now, Casio makes many different kinds of products, from musical instruments to even health tech, but they're mostly well known for their watches, which they separate into many different sub-brands. Their most well-known ones is G-Shock and Vintage. They also have higher-tier watches found in the Edifice, Oceanus, and ProTrek lines, as well as a more feminine-targeted product being the Baby G. These are the current Casio smartwatch models on the market today, all fitting within the G-Shock category. These are built for lifestyle and fitness tracking. These watches are simplistic but powerful in their capabilities. On the current marketplace, Casio finds itself in the competitive gap with Garmin, with higher price scale focused on fitness tracking. However, in this bracket, and compared to other brackets, it kind of struggles to compete in sales. So let's take a quick look at this watch. Some of the pros includes basic features like Bluetooth connectivity, health and heart rate tracking, notifications, and its best readability feature, the memory in pixel or MIP display. Some of the cons, however, is the inconvenient app cycle. In order to get to the feature you want to, you have to scroll through every single other feature. There's also limited features and limited interactivity, and there's no customization except the colorways. For Casio, I believe this is a step in the right direction. They're not designing to make an Apple Watch. However, I believe it may be time to take a leap. In 2024 alone, the G-Shock sub-brand itself sold 1.8 million units. However, only 3% of those were the smartwatch type models. So, this is when I started to look online to see what other people thought about Casio's current smartwatch. Many people compared it to an Apple or Garmin and questioned why should I get a Casio watch when I could get instead one of these watches at the same price category with better features. Some people didn't like the cheaper feeling materials on the Casio watch compared to the higher quality metal and plastics found in the other watches. And finally, one user noted that they're irritated with the updated changes being the date configuration being different. And honestly, in the year 2020, that is kind of a laughable improvement. So, I reached out to some industry experts to get their thoughts on the current smartwatch industry. Ian Hare is a designer at Casio America, and he helped me to understand a little bit about how Casio goes about their design thinking process, looking at market trends, brand heritage, target audience, functionality, and storytelling to ensure each design balances innovation with the G-Shock rugged mentality image. Colin Murray is a senior industrial designer at Garmin, and one of the things he noted to me was that he thought the smartwatch industry was getting a little out of control on size, especially when you compare it to traditional watches at 36 to 41 millimeters. Finally, Eric Migikovsky, who is the creator of Pebble and Core Devices, one of the first smartwatch creators in 2013 and 2014, noted to me that smartwatches should be designed to be used very briefly. And if you want to have a longer interaction, it should take place through your phone. So my next step was to gather data, and I accomplished this by sending out a survey, garnering over 75 responses. And through some of the questions that I asked, many users gave their opinions on what features would be ideal on a new Casio smartwatch entry. And some of these included longer battery life, customizable watch faces, easier interactivity, and better user interface. And one user told me that customization should better work for me, not the other way around. This led me to creating my problem statement, which I noted as Casio's reliance on traditional designs and therefore lack of innovation contributes to declining overall sales and satisfaction with the product in the evolving smartwatch market. So, my vision for this project was to reimagine the Casio smartwatch, create a new user experience, and finally, add creative capabilities physically and digitally. This leads me to my process. I started by trying to understand the people who would utilize this product. As you know, watches can cover a variety of different people, and it can't really be glued down to one person. So I created 3 general personas that could help me further along my design process. Firstly, we had the middle mark. This is an average Joe who just wants a watch that's durable and great for on and offline use. He just needs something that's easy to use and great for everyday activities. Next, we had the active assassin, and this is someone who enjoys fitness or running. This person wants something that's lightweight and high quality, and needs something with good fitness and health tracking. Finally, we have the Hacksmith Haven. This is an individual who wants third-party integration and needs something that can customize physically and digitally to feel involved with the product in their wrist. My next step was to create mood boards. My first mood board, I wanted to capture the essence and vibe of G-Shock, thinking of bold shapes and strong brooding colors, a traditionally timeless yet intentionally modern design. In my second mood board, I want to take a closer look at forms and features, such as angles, corners, bump outs, and fillets. And I also want to take note of materials, from translucent plastic to a durable resin. I took the next step in my ideation process by sketching existing watches, taking notes of the forms I studied previously. Then I highlighted the things that felt iconic to me and breathed into the Casio brand. I then began sketching my own forms, diverging and converging between traditional vintage and G-Shock forms. I applied many parts of my sketching into the next step of my process, utilizing computer-assisted design, or CAD. The two main programs I utilized was Fusion 360 for modeling and Blender for rendering. Fusion worked well in my workflow, allowing me to be more flexible when making changes. I also discovered that my previous sketch concepts would evolve once I hopped into CAD. From CAD, I created a few prototypes to discover size and dimension that would work in a unison and unisex wrist size. I found that I needed to downsize the overall size, but increase the interactable surfaces, such as the buttons. I also wanted to work within a smaller bezel size, keeping my dimensions around under the 42mm mark. It was also important to me to conceptualize a better UI that allowed the user to quickly use the watch. This watch is comprised of 4 buttons: the back, forward, up, and down keys. Now, this isn't a touchscreen interface. Instead, it provides a more tactile experience, pointing towards the original Casio digital lineage. By pressing the forward key, you are brought to a home menu, where you can scroll using the up and down keys, pressing forward again to select and launch an app. Each app, of course, would have its own features within. This would also work well with the already existing G-Shock Move app with some slight changes. This could allow for users to add or remove applications to their watches, as well as watch faces. For example, if you're no longer in need of the music app, you can go ahead and remove it from your watch. Maybe you want to install a game. You can go ahead and download it straight from the app. My vision is that users would be able to create their own apps that would be available to download, which is inspired from the already existing ecosystem within the Pebble branded watches. I also wanted to introduce a quick launch feature right from the watch face screen. This was inspired from Eric's words of making a smartwatch quick to use. One iconic feature of Casio watches is the backlight, and one way you can go about this is by holding the back button, which would quickly, in just a few seconds, have a backlight appear for a couple seconds. By holding down the forward key, you could quickly launch your notifications app. If you hold down your up key for a few seconds, it will launch your fitness app, and if you hold the down key, it would launch your music app. Now, I didn't want to make changes just in the UI, but also physically. And one way I wanted to innovate was through modularity. This watch is separated into 3 main components: the exterior, the screen protector, and the base brick. The exterior can be replaced with many different variations, allowing users to express themselves through different shapes and colors with ease. The screen protector gives the potential for unique graphics, as well as for privacy screen protectors on the wrist. That way you can keep your notifications private. All of this is attached to the base brick, which is the actual watch that can be worn straight bare. Now, after moving through my process, I'm excited to present to you my vision for Casio's future in the smartwatch industry. This is the Casio XBD 101, where X stands for a new generation of Bluetooth digital technology. And this brings a fresh breath of air into the oversaturated smartwatch market, utilizing the Casio brand. You can wear it bare. You can choose to keep it low-key, or perhaps show your personality in a unique colorway and a slim and comfortable fit. You can wear it brave, take it for a run, perhaps even a hike, and beat it up as your daily driver in a colorway that suits you. Or you could wear it boldly, mixing and matching silhouettes and colors with different exteriors and watch bands. Take it to work, for a stroll, or perhaps even a candlelight dinner. Express yourself with a different watch face and exterior built by the Casio team or the community. So, did I accomplish what I set out to do? Although I didn't create a watch for Emil, I created a concept that solves the current problems that Casio faces in the smartwatch market. By creating an easy-to-interact interface and customizability options catered to the user, I built a watch made for all people with diverse applications. I took to heart the idea from Eric Mikikovsky that these smart devices should be used as briefly and easily as possible. I also brought back an innovative touch that Casio has been missing for many years, bringing a fresh yet realistic taste to a Casio design. This is more than a product. This is an idea that carries vision and inspiration. So, with that all said and done, I'd like to thank you for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions at all, you can reach me at the number or my email below, as well as scan the QR code if you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you.